Hello everyone, welcome to the chapter 1 and 2 of your MuleSoft series. And in this chapters, we will be particularly discussing about introduction to MuleSoft RPA and RPA evaluation phase. What goes behind your RPA evaluation phase in MuleSoft RPA? So this is not just a video but a series, and in this series you will be understanding more about MuleSoft RPA, how you can configure MuleSoft RPA, how you can automate tasks in MuleSoft RPA, design, develop, manage, as well as deploy and use this developed MuleSoft RPA bot with your MuleSoft Composer. So this is an entire series just meant for you to get started with MuleSoft RPA and also have an upper hand on the automation that frequently gets released by Salesforce every now and then. So this is a brief about me. My name is Megesh Shenoy. I'm a Salesforce developer and a MuleSoft developer with around 3.5 years of experience. I was also awarded by MuleSoft with Top Mentors Award. I am also a MuleSoft ambassador and a forum ambassador and an active member of your Salesforce Trailblazer community forum. So as we are progressing towards the future, right? So if you can think about this, there are so many systems and organization uses, right? It can have Salesforce as the CRM, it can have SAP for inventory management or NetSuite, right? So there are so many systems that are there and organization uses. And in some cases, if the organization is been there from past 30 or 40 years, right? They may have systems which is developed in COBOL or any other language, right? And those are legacy systems which don't have an API as exposed, right? So as we see that so many systems, so much of data siloed across the systems, right? How we can automate the business processes, right? How we can integrate, automate these business processes, and this is where your MuleSoft automation suite comes into the picture, right? So we have system integration, process automation, and human task automation, everything being managed by MuleSoft automation suite. And in this automation suite, we have Anypoint platform, which integrates multiple systems, which has an APIs exposed at scale, right? So if there are many systems out there, there is like so much of data that flows in each second as we talk right now, and this scale can be managed by using Anypoint platform. So I can integrate Salesforce with uh, with with SAP or NetSuite or any a third party database that we have. This is all about the system integration. Now what is outcome of an integration? It's automation. And how you can manage these automations? It is using MuleSoft Composer. So MuleSoft Composer gives us an ability to integrate multiple systems to automate these business processes, right? And without writing a single line of code. Now, there might be a challenge previously that the teams that were working in an organization were continuously working on integrations, right? And the organization was behind the competition out there in the market because they were not able to use these people, the skilled resources or the people in other projects which might have done more beneficial to them, right? And this is where your MuleSoft empowers the business teams in an organization by making these automations without writing a single line of code. And this is where we use MuleSoft Composer. Now, in any point platform, we may use certain level of code present, but in MuleSoft Composer, we don't have to write a single line of code. Everything is point and click based. And all of this automation is done with governance and security. So, just to repeat myself, MuleSoft Endpoint Platform provides us an ability to integrate multiple systems at scale. MuleSoft Composer provides us an ability to automate business processes without writing a single line of code. And the systems which don't have an API as exposed, MuleSoft RPA can come into our hand, and with which we can automate systems which don't have an API as exposed and which has an API as exposed by using MuleSoft Automation Suite. So MuleSoft or your Salesforce Hyperautomation is not just a single product, but its processes. So not only we have MuleSoft Automation Suite as part of your Salesforce Hyperautomation package, but we do have Flow Orchestrator, Einstein Pod, Salesforce Flows, and your MuleSoft Automation Suite, with which we can hyper automate or we can automate systems or business processes at scale. Now, we'll be talking more about MuleSoft RPA from here on, and in the upcoming videos, you will be watching how you can design, build, deploy, and also invoke these RPA processes from your MuleSoft Composer. Now, talking about MuleSoft RPA, with MuleSoft RPA, you can automate business processes and tasks by using bots, saving time and preventing human errors. Now, as you may know that some systems or some organizations still use these legacy systems, and these legacy systems don't have an API as exposed. And in order to interact with these legacy systems, we have to use it via GUI or your graphical user interface. Now, there may be people sitting to automate or to do these jobs, right? And when there is human, there is also a scope of error, right? And also some kind of resource or money that is consumed for that particular job role. Now, MuleSoft RPA can automate these jobs, right? So the particular person who was sitting to do this job can now work on another great job, right? Which might help the company or it might be beneficial to the organization. MuleSoft RPA can interact with systems that do not have an API available for consumption, interact with applications, extract data, read images, and manipulate computer input with mouse and keyboard. MuleSoft RPA has a feature called OCR. Now, optical character recognitions provides us an ability to read the data from your images and process the data forward. Now, when we interact with your MuleSoft Anypoint platform or your uh, MuleSoft Composer, we don't have an ability to read images, right? But MuleSoft RPA has the ability to extract data from images of files and process it to the down systems. It enables reusability of MuleSoft RPA processes by publishing it on Exchange as assets. Now, as I said before, it's an automation suite, right? MuleSoft RPA Composer Anypoint is an automation suite. Now, in order to have a greater ROI, we can use these products together. We can publish our RPA to our Anypoint platform as assets on Anypoint Exchange. And now from there, we can consume these RPA bots at scale. Now we can have 5 to 6 processes invoke this MuleSoft RPA bot processes, right? Whenever we deploy these RPA bot processes to your exchange, we have an API exposed. And by using certain endpoints, we can invoke these RPA bot processes. Now it can also integrate with MuleSoft Compose or an endpoint platform to connect applications and data in automations. Now, these are certain use cases of your MuleSoft RPA. We can extract data, do data entry. Now, extract data from PDF, CSV, and other file formats using optical character recognition and other technologies, and send the data to other systems. The other great use case is payroll processing. With payroll processing, we can automate your payroll data entry and validate the information across multiple systems. We do have price comparisons where we can, for example, you want the everyday price of your oil prices, right? You can go to a website and you can use MuleSoft RPA to fetch the data from that website and do some price comparisons over there. We can also do customer information updates, right? So update customer information automatically across different systems that do not have an API and that are accessible only through the UI. Now we'll go a bit more deep into your MuleSoft RPA. MuleSoft RPA consists of following components. If you're preparing for certification or if you're preparing for interviews, then keep in mind about these components. MuleSoft RPA consists of your RPA manager, your RPA recorder, RPA builder, and RPA bot. Here's the twist. MuleSoft RPA manager is present on the cloud, while RPA recorder, RPA builder, and RPA bot will only work on your Windows machine. So someone asks you a question, uh, is RPA manager can be used only on Windows machine? Your answer should be it should not, right? It is a cloud-based application or your cloud-based product where we can have your dedicated MuleSoft RPA instance where you can type in your username and password, or else if you're using this automation suite, you can directly log into your RPA manager from your Anypoint platform. Now this is cloud-based, while recorder, builder, and bot is your uh, desktop-based. Now we will go deep into your components of your RPA, MuleSoft RPA suite. Now, in the upcoming videos, you'll learn them in depth and also know at which stage you have to use these components. For example, for your evaluation, which you'll be learning next, for your uh, design phase, for your uh, test phase, and your deployment phase, you'll be using RPA Manager, even for monitoring phase as well. Now, RPA Manager is a cloud-based component of MuleSoft RPA and enables you to evaluate, design, test, and monitor the RPA processes. Now, you can just go to your browser, and if your organization is using RPA or has an instance of MuleSoft RPA, then obviously you will be having access to RPA Manager as well. Now, the second part is your RPA recorder. So then the upcoming videos you'll be also learning about how you can use MuleSoft RPA recorder to design your RPA bot process. Now, RPA recorder enables you to create BPMN model by recording user actions. BPMN stands for Business Process Model Notation. It's a way how you can describe what kind of things that you are performing by using MuleSoft RPA. For example, you log in into a website, you can just create a bot task over here, and you can just state that what it shall be doing, right? It's just a way to show your or to visualize your business process that you will be automating using MuleSoft RPA. MuleSoft RPA Builder enables you to develop or create the main logic for the bot processes. So using your RPA manager or your RPA recorder, you just design the bot processes, but over here you will be having the main logic for how your bot should perform or what activities the bot should perform. The last component that I wanted to talk about was your RPA bot, which is basically your bot that will be deployed into your secured virtual machines and will be playing a main role in executing these bot processes. Now, if there is a product, there should also be a life cycle that should be governing the product, right? And how efficiently you can use the product. Now, similarly, in MuleSoft RPA, we have your evaluation phase that we'll be learning next. We have design, build, test, production, and operate phases that we'll be learning subsequently in our upcoming or the next videos that you'll be watching. So, in the evaluation phase, we first understand whether we need to automate the business process by using MuleSoft RPA. This is an optional step that you can do as of now. The next part is designing, right? We need to know what kind of things that we need to perform in your MuleSoft RPA. you do this in your design phase. Again, this can be done using RPA Manager or your RPA Recorder. And if you see who are involved in each of the phases, this can be done by a business team, while designing can also be done by a business team. But for the build phase, we need some kind of developer skills over here. Now, in the build phase, we actually apply the process logic or your logic into your RPA bot processes. And once we test all of them, we can just do a final testing over here of your RPA bot processes, and it can be done by anyone from your IT or developer or businesses. And this can be done by deploying your RPA bot process into your RPA manager, and then you can test it from your RPA manager. Once it goes into your test phase and you see that, okay, this process is ready to be used in production, we can directly deploy to production as well. Now, in many scenarios, businesses have VMs, right, or virtual machines, a secured virtual machines where we'll be deploying these bot processes. And then our operate is basically how you can monitor and manage the bot processes and the environment. Again, this can be done by your from your RPA manager. This is all about your MuleSoft RPA life cycle. This is a very important topic in MuleSoft RPA, and please pay attention to this. In the upcoming videos, we'll be learning about each phase in depth with a very interesting use case. Now we'll be going a deep into your MuleSoft RPA lifecycle, and with the very first thing we'll be learning is the evaluate phase. Now in this phase, we'll understand whether it is suitable to use MuleSoft RPA to automate the bot process or automate the business process or not, right? So we determine if a business process is qualified to be automated. Perform a cost benefit analysis of building an RPA process using cost benefit qualifiers. Now I'll be explaining you more in depth about these three criterias, which will help you understand whether your RPA bot or your business process can be automated by your MuleSoft RPA or not. And this estimation is purely based upon whether by automating this process by using MuleSoft RPA, whether it would fetch you a higher ROI or not. We'll go with the very first criteria, which is your RPA cost. So if you go to your RPA manager, and I'll be showing you all of these steps in depth. Now, if you go to your RPA manager, you create a new task, or the first thing you can do, which is very optional, that you can evaluate that business process. And this we can also embed, we can also enter the cost that goes into currently performing that business process manually, right? So as I said, in most of the cases where we'll be using MuleSoft RPA, there wouldn't be an API as exposed to the system, right? To interact with the system. So we need to also identify what is the cost that goes behind uh, to or operate that business process manually, right? There is some kind of person doing that job. So factors to estimate it would be your manual process execution time. We'll be entering like how much time it goes to do that business process, the cost per process run, and the frequency per month. So this is your first criteria, which is your RPA cost. The second criteria is about your RPA benefits. Now it helps us to determine the usefulness of a process automation. And the factors to estimate would be your output quality, complexity, and risk. Now this basically defines what is the benefits that you will be yielding from your MuleSoft RPA. If you want a high output quality, yes, MuleSoft RPA can be a good tool for you. Complexity, if it's a highly complex, yes, MuleSoft RPA can also do it. And risk, if you don't want a failure, right? So and you, it's a very high risk job, then MuleSoft RPA can help minimize those human errors that was causing previously, right? Now this is your RPA benefits. The third and the last criteria is your RPA qualifiers. It helps us to determine whether a process can be automated and how easily it can be automated. And the factors to estimate would be nature of work, right? Understand, just correlate these with your with the text that is entered into or added into the curly or into your braces, rule based or judgmental nature of work, right? If it is rule based, then it is very easy to automate or use MuleSoft RPA. If it is judgmental, then your business process is very likely unsuitable to be automated by using MuleSoft RPA. Then you have to also think about input and output, right? What kind of data would be input and what kind of data would be output, whether it would be a structured data or unstructured data. If it is a structured data, then yes, it your MuleSoft RPA can perform as expected. If it is your unstructured data, then it might be difficult for your MuleSoft RPA to automate that business process. Then you have to also think about stability of your business process. For example, today I use MuleSoft RPA to automate this business process, and tomorrow, once I deploy this to your production, and we also have VMs, right? VMs are not um, very cost efficient as well, right? There goes money to run these VMs, and not one VM, but we have many VMs there for better scalability as well as there should not be any downtime whenever these business processes are running, right? So we need to also look at the stability. I deploy these to VMs, and right now you say that, okay, the process has changed. It's very difficult to again go back, make the changes, again push it to production, right? There goes a lot of work over there. Then we have your data types, whether we want to extract data from text or images, right? If it is text, it is more likely to be your RPA can do it very easily. But if it is image based, right, it might be difficult up to some extent because there can be human handwritings where your RPA might be not able to extract the data from that image, right? So you have to think about these factors as well whenever you are evaluating your RPA or your business process, whether to use it by MuleSoft RPA or automate it by using MuleSoft RPA or not. Now let's go a bit deep into your how you can do this process evaluation phase, right? And now this is an instance of MuleSoft RPA I have as of now. And in this instance, if you see, I am at my home page. Now you can go to download applications and download each of the applications over here. We can download RPA recorder. Now all of these applications that you see can only be downloaded and used in your Windows machine only. It won't work in your Mac. Now, this is all about your download. And now, what I want to I want to automate a business process, right? As I said, we can directly just go create or design that business process over here, or else optionally, we can also evaluate to be more sure that whatever business process that we'll be automating using MuleSoft RPA, we can just go click on evaluation. And once we click on evaluation, we can go directly into your new evaluation. We can click on the new evaluation button, enter the name. Now for me, I'll just type in, right? I just want to fetch some value from a website, right? And now over here, I can set the category or RPA training category. I will just set in the category where I categorize 5 to 6. If there are multiple RPA bot processes out there, right, you can categorize it. Bots are working for this category, which means it is working only for a particular business operation, right? You can categorize it. And this is just a template, I would say. So you can also create some templates at a evaluation phase where you can just determine whether this MuleSoft RPA can be used to automate the business process or not. There will be some predefined qualifiers and benefits over here. I can just enter some description and you can just click on save, right? Once you click on save, if you see, now we will talk more deep into each of the criterias that we were talking about, right? The cost, the qualifiers, and then your benefits. Now, these are just as a default template that is set by Salesforce. You can create your own evaluation criterias as well. You can add some criterias, and then this is the process matrix that goes on. Now this is the dot. If you see, if I increase the nature of work over here, it the dot, see it is scaling, right? And if I make the out, I need some urgent improvements of the output quality, it goes. Now legend is present somewhere near green or yellow borders, then you can see that your business process is more likely to have a better ROI when using MuleSoft RPA to automate the business process. Now we'll go into the very first criteria, which is your manual process execution time. It specifies the time it takes a human user to perform the current manual process. It can be, for example, it takes like 10 minutes and then 0 0 seconds to perform that process manually. Then I can also set the cost it goes to perform that action or that process manually, right? I can just type in $11. Now this is just a placeholder over here. It is not going, but $11 is what goes behind to automate the business process, and the frequency I can set it as 1,000 times. Now when this is done, now you have to set in the qualifiers over here. Now, as I said, nature of work. So, nature of work determines the type of work a process is easier to automate when its workflow is governed by a set of rules, right? So, if you see, we have judgmental and rule based. Now, when it is rule based, I know that would be a bit more easier, right? Because that does not cause any judgment. We have certain rules, we know what will be the outcome of that rule, right? Then we have your input and output, whether it is unstructured data or structured data. Now if you see, I for our use case, it will be a structured data that will be automating in our upcoming videos. Now, the stability, I know that the business process that I'll be automating will be quite stable and it won't change at all, right? So if you see, whenever I'm moving this or moving this down, so the legend over here also moves up and down, right? And it is going more into deep side. Now, the data type that we'll be using or automating, it is structured data, right? It is just text and images, I would say. So we are just entering the data into Google Sheet and we'll be automating it up, right? The RPA would go and fill the form. So I know that the data type is text. Then output quality, yes, I need some urgent improvements. Complexity, it's quite simple, I would say, not that complex. And then risk, right? It's a low risk or high risk. It's a high risk. I don't want any errors. So if you see, my legend is right now, the dot is present in the green region, which means that my RPA bot will most likely, or the process that I'll be automating using MuleSoft RPA will most likely benefit, right? The organization might benefit by using this MuleSoft RPA. Now, the entire process that you see is just, it's an optional. You can directly go and design that RPA the bot process, or you can just evaluate just to be sure that before automating the process by using MuleSoft RPA, you will most likely benefit, right? I can just go and click on save. Now, when you click on save, so these are many business processes over here, right? Your which is in which is in build production phases. You can filter it out whether the RPA or the process that I want to evaluate. So now, if you see over here, we have your RPA, the process that we created, we have evaluated, right? Now, what I want to do is, now as a project manager, we can just go. So I know that, okay, this RPA pod process is most likely to be uh, uh, would be beneficial to be automated, right? So I can just send it to approval either to my team manager or to my team. Now, team manager, for example, as part of the demo, we can just assign it to ourselves. Click on OK. Once we click on OK, what we have to do is we have to go your my RPA, my backlog, and under my backlog, you can just watch what process that we can just, as a manager, we can go and evaluate uh, whether the stats that we have entered is correct or not. Once done, what we can do is we can just click on start automating, or we can reject it up, right? So I'll just click on start automating right now. And once we click on start automating, this is where your design phase would start in, right? And the design phase onwards, we will cover it up in our upcoming lecture. So before that, we can also, I'll just give you a deep dive into more about what are these things. So this is basically before starting, even starting your design phase, we can just set up what kind of team members can be involved in creation of these RPA bot processes. So as of now, I'll just so we can just type in the process team. We can just we can just specify over here like what kind of processes the user will be involved. As of now, we can just type in all of them, and you can just click on save. Now, as mentioned before, so we can also send email notification to all the team members after the process is created and after phase changes. So whatever team members are present, if suppose from design to build phase and there is a user who is particularly needs to be working on the build phase, then an email will be going out to them that the business process is now in the build phase. You can start creating them, and then we can just uncheck this. It will basically create those process board, and we can have some processes ready to track whether we can deploy or where we can design deploy these RPA bot processes, right, in a structured way. You can go and click on save. So see, we can now start building our automation. So we can just go and click on start automating. And this is where your design phase would actually start in, where you will be creating these BPMN models by using your RPA manager, or you can use RPA recorder. We'll be talking more about these two in our next videos. So just watch them and you can understand more in depth about how you can use all of these products together. So end of the day, what you'll be learning is MuleSoft RPA, its entire life cycle, and how you can use MuleSoft RPA along with your composer, right, to automate a business process. Now this is your design phase, and then you can operate your design, test, and production from your MuleSoft RPA manager. This is all about your introduction to MuleSoft RPA and your evaluation phase in your MuleSoft RPA. Please watch the upcoming videos, which we'll be talking more about your design, build, your production phases, and then how you can use MuleSoft RPA along with your MuleSoft Composer to automate a business process. Thank you and see you.